So we just got back from an incredible 7-day road trip with our friends over at Roadsurfer. And so in this week's video, we're gonna go over the ultimate itinerary for you to plan out a 7-day road trip through all of Arizona. Without further ado, cue the intro and let's get into it.
What's up YouTube? Trevi from the Adventure Buddies, the modern travel family, bringing you another video filled with tips, tricks, and inspiration to make sure you maximize your next family adventure, like we always do here at the Adventure Buddies.
So before we get into the itinerary, let's talk about what is Roadsurfer. So Roadsurfer is a rental company that allows you to rent those Sprinter camper RV vans. And so we did a full review here. Click the link above for that video where we go into the tons of details of why you should rent one here, because we had an absolute blast and was super convenient. So particularly though, if you want a discount on your next trip with Roadsurfer, use our discount code down below. We'll put the link down in the description. So without further ado, let's get back into the itinerary and understand where we went on this amazing Arizona road trip. So day one of our ultimate Arizona road trip started out of Los Angeles. So we drove about 5 hours to Kingsman, Arizona. Why? This was just to break up the long drive on the day one, but we stopped at Southwest Alpaca Tour. So we spent about an hour to an hour and a half just learning and playing with the alpacas. And so this was just great to break up the road trip so Olivia could get out, stretch her legs, and play with some fun alpacas. After the alpaca tours, we drove about another hour to our final stop for the day, and that was Williams, Arizona. So before we rested for that night, we had to stop at 2 other stops. The first stop was Bearizona. Bearizona was a drive-through zoo. Yeah, you heard me right. You were able to take our Roadsurfer camper van through this actual zoo, which is a super unique experience. If you want more details on that, head over to our Instagram or our TikTok at The Adventure Buddies for a full review on that particular experience. So after Bearizona though, we weren't done. We headed off to the North Pole experience. What is the North Pole experience? Well, this was where we got to go to the actual North Pole into Santa's workshop. So this was right around Thanksgiving time, so we're just starting the holiday experience and we were able to have a great time with Olivia. Now, I'm not gonna give you a spoiler on all those activities inside of Santa's workshop, but it was tremendous. Click this link above here for the particular video on the North Pole experience versus the Polar Express. Well, Matt, you mentioned then Polar Express. Well, that comes into day number 2, but before we get into the Polar Express, because that happens at the end of the day, because that's a nighttime activity, we did have one more activity to do, and that was to go to the Grand Canyon Deer Farm. So this again was another animal excursion that we were able to interact with the actual animal. So that being the deer. So you're able to get some food, go into the actual area, and then you were swarmed by a ton of different deer. We were also lucky enough to be able to bottle feed some baby deers that were just born a few months ago. On top of that, we also got to play with wallabies, we got to play with pigs, etc., and even kiss a camel. You heard me right, kiss a camel. But it got even better because at the end of the experience, Santa came to town, brought his own reindeer, and got free pictures for us and the family. Then, so after Deer Farm, you heard it right, on day 2, we ended our day with the Polar Express. This again was one of our top destinations that we have planned on this ultimate road trip, and one that we've heard a ton about, so we had to check it out. Again, if you want to understand what that actual activity is about, make sure you click that link above so you can understand the North Pole experience versus this Polar Express. And then we get into day 3, but it should be noted in the first 2 days, we are sleeping in our camper van. We're sleeping in a KOA, so a Camp of America, which we highly recommend you do. But we were really excited just to be able to test out this Roadsurfer van because it had a ton of great amenities. It was great for not only Trevi and myself, but also for our 1-year-old baby Olivia. So we're gonna do a full video on is the camper van suitable for a 1-year-old baby? So make sure you click that red subscribe button for that particular video coming next. Then early in the morning, we were able to quickly pack up from our KOA, which was super convenient in our Roadsurfer van, and head from Flagstaff, Arizona, all the way through Sedona. So in Sedona, we did have a tremendous amount of things to do. We were primarily there looking to make sure we had some good filming opportunity, get to see the scenic rock, get to see the Chapel of the Holy Cross, but we do highly recommend if you do go to Sedona, make sure you check out Slide Rock, particularly in the summer months, because that's a great fun family activity for you and your family to do through Sedona. Then about 30 minutes outside of Sedona, we were able to stumble upon Camp Verde. So this was a unique town that offered another animal excursion. Who would have thought? So this animal excursion we're talking about was out of Africa, and this was actually very unique. So the most unique aspect of it was you get to go on an actual safari. So we loaded up into a converted old school bus, and we got to go into the safari park. That safari park had anywhere from giraffes, zebras, antelope, etc. But those giraffes you actually got to feed, not only by your hand, but also by your mouth. It should also be noted that outside of the safari park, they had a number of different animal excursions that you could do. So you could see see lions, you could see tigers, a tiger show, monkeys, etc. So everything you wanted to do, you could do there out of Africa. However, it should also be noted that this was particularly unique that they actually have zip lining opportunities. You heard me right, you can zip line across the tigers and the lions and the giraffes in this park. So it wasn't running when we went there, but this is something that we would love to bring Jake and Gianna back to do this and cross that off our adventure list. So then motoring along into day number 4, we traveled near Scottsdale to a place called Litchfield Park, Arizona. And you guessed it right, we hit up one more animal excursion. So that was Wildlife World Zoo. And so this was probably the closest we got to a normal zoo, but it did have some unique aspects. So believe it or not, we got to feed more giraffe. I didn't know that we'd go to Arizona and feed so many giraffes, but again, this offered a unique experience. So we also did go through a train ride that took us through another safari park. So again, getting super up close and personal with some of these unique African animals. And so we were super impressed with the wildlife here at Wildlife World Zoo and highly recommend you checking that out. And then right after Wildlife World Zoo, we headed over to Scottsdale, which wasn't far, about 30 to 45 minutes, where we were going to the Scottsdale Fairmont Princess. So if you know anything about the Scottsdale Fairmont Princess, they have epic events during the holiday. So whether that's the fall time or this one was the holiday season. So we got in there for a merry time and were able to do carnival rides, train rides, and just be enamored with all the Christmas lights. And so again, had a fantastic time at the Fairmont Princess. And then we get into day number 5. Day number 5 is when we wanted to continue to explore some of the outdoor wilderness, and that is just what we did. So first stop was the Lost Dutchman State Park. So this was an opportunity for us to get out and do some hiking and just really explore some unique rock aspects of the state park. Right across from there though, we actually stumbled upon a ghost town. So Goldfield Ghost Town, which was a super unique experience. So however, this one wasn't open during the particular day that we were there, but we did get to tour it on our own. So if you are there while it's open, we highly suggest you checking it out because we hear there are gun shows, there are mine tours, etc., and something that you definitely need to check out once they're open. Then after the ghost town, we headed to Salt River, particularly to Coon Bluff. Why Salt River and why this particular area? Well, this was rumored to be the best spot where you can see wild horses. You heard me right, wild horses. So we got to Coon Bluff and I was able to toss up the drone, go up and down the river, and finally stumbled upon 5 different horses. You heard me right, wild horses drinking in the river, and it was just something that was super unique and cool. So then we decided to get out of the Roadsurfer RV, and the 3 of us decided to hike the banks of the river to go get up close and personal with those wild horses. So speaking of wild horses, that brings us now to day 6. What do you mean, Matt? Well, we had to get from Scottsdale all the way to Lake Havasu City, and we're gonna stop in Oatman, Arizona, because they're rumored to have wild donkeys. So we saw wild horses, let's go find wild donkeys. So we thought that was super cool. So we stumbled upon Oatman, Arizona, about 4.5 hours into our drive, and we were met with wild donkeys. And so those were donkeys that were just ranging out in the wilderness, out on the mountaintops, or they were actually walking the streets of Oatman. So Oatman is a small town, resembles a bit of a ghost town or an old western town, etc. And they actually have gun shows and reenactments, and it's just a great spot to one, stop for a restroom or grab lunch on your way to Lake Havasu City. Then about an hour out of Oatman, Arizona, you stumbled upon Lake Havasu City, and this is where we decided to camp out for the next day. So we were able to get a KOA right there on the lakefront, and this was a great opportunity for us to do some boating, some camping, some fishing, or dune bugging and off-roading. And so we particularly didn't do it. We didn't want to take that Roadsurfer out for that particular test, but we saw a ton of fun and a ton of adventure happening in Lake Havasu City, and highly recommend you putting this on your itinerary. And then we get to day 7, which was our long travel day back to Los Angeles. So that was about a 6 to 7 hour drive, but a comfortable one in that, mainly because of riding in style in our Roadsurfer van. So not only was this van easy to handle all of our adventures, but we were able to do that comfortably and conveniently. So if you want to know more about the Roadsurfer van, leave a comment down below. And so if you like this video or you like this itinerary, please consider giving us that big thumbs up. Hit that red subscribe button for more travel tips and adventures. And most importantly, remember, life's an adventure. Who are you going on with?